Kasie Hunt, I just wonder, because I think any doctor that understands the impact of COVID on the mental health of patients, especially while they still have COVID, which we could suspect likely that the president does still have COVID. He's probably still shedding. It's probably still having an impact on him. You combine that with the drugs that he's taken, with the steroids that he's on. Anybody that has been on steroids, strong steroids, for health reasons, understand that it does impact the way you think. It impacts the way you respond. I don't expect any Republican on the Hill to be truthful to you on the record about their concerns about the president's stability and at least a temporary transfer of power to Mike Pence until the president's off these steroids, until the president recovers fully from COVID. But have you heard any discussion from Republican staffers, off the record from Republican legislators, from any Republicans in Washington, D.C., that they are at least concerned about a president acting irrationally with the nuclear codes? Not that, let me restate that the president who has the nuclear codes, that they're concerned about a president in this mental state being able to run the country when he likely would not be allowed to run any company in America in his current state.
Well, I don't think I have to speculate, Joe. The New York Times has reported that there are White House officials who are concerned about the president's current mental status because of the drugs that he's taken. And we have been documenting very carefully, even without the steroids, how this president has governed over the course of the last several years, and that has obviously raised many concerns. But to your point, I think the level of alarm is pretty high right now among the people that I'm talking to privately. And you're right, we're not going to see a flood of on-the-record comments expressing concern about the president's health, but there is a sense that everyone is on board a sinking ship right now, and there's no good way to deal with it. And it's impossible for them to say in public any of the things that you just outlined, to express concerns about the president's state of being, to talk about the drugs that he is on, whether that's having an impact on how he's governing, partly because their own political futures are tied to him. And raising those questions would raise questions about themselves and their own ability to actually govern well. But it's fair to say that there is a deep recognition that we have not been in a situation like this before, and that there are potentially very serious questions, especially, I would say, with the Joint Chiefs quarantining. That adds a layer of concern to this that is particularly problematic, Joe.
Absolutely. And, some might argue that the ship started taking on water debate night. And the question remains whether or not the president knew he had coronavirus debate night.
Jake Sherman, I'll ask you the same question as we go to break that I asked Kasie. What concerns are you picking up? Again, because it's obviously Republicans are just as concerned about the safety and well-being of their children and their country and the economy as everyone else. And if the president is impacted by COVID, as studies would show, it's more than likely he is. If the president is impacted negatively by these steroids and this treatment that he's on, which science and medicine and studies would show it is more likely than not that he is, then are you hearing any Republicans sounding the sort of alarms that others are sounding?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, twofold. Number one, it's difficult for them to do it publicly because their political fortune, they believe in some of these very red districts. I mean, Joe, think about your old district. Probably will go for Donald Trump 60-40, if not bigger than that. A lot of Republicans represent these districts in which the president is still inordinately popular, and so they don't have any incentive to speak out against them. But think about it this way. I mean, no one is looking to lie across train tracks for the president right now. You're seeing that in Senate races. You saw Martha McSally last night in an Arizona Senate debate refuse to kind of address her support for the president, say whether she's proud of her support for the president. There's definitely a concern about the decisions he's making, and there has been for some time. And I think some of the behavior you're seeing now is acutely due to the fact that there is nobody really in the White House. And not that it's that much different than previous weeks or months, but there's no one even to try to push back. And that's the particularly dangerous part for the president, why he's kind of operating as a lone ranger here, I would say. And I think we're going to see that in the days and weeks ahead as the president kind of, if he stays healthy, and we hope he does, kind of operates from his gut and from his political heart, which is something that his advisors have continually warned him against.
Joe, this move was so politically irrational when he made it yesterday in that tweet to go out and take ownership of the fact that $2 trillion of government money would not be going out to people, to voters, 4 weeks ahead of Election Day, that I started asking around Capitol Hill. It turns out, as ever, there is no four-dimensional chess here at work. It was just a move he made, something he threw into the atmosphere without thinking about it. It was summarized by one congressman who told me about the president. He feels insecure, so he needs to exert his power to feel good. That just doesn't work here. It's not how we operate. So the president puts out that tweet that can't be taken back now and sends a signal to voters, again, less than a month ahead of Election Day. I'm the guy who cut off negotiations. I'm the guy who ensured that perhaps your small business will fail or that you won't get that check you were hoping for.
Yeah. We've talked about for some time how this president has, for whatever reason, consistently put himself on the 30% side of issues that are 70-30 issues. And you could go down the list in 2020, but he's done it time and again. I would guess this is likely a 90-10 issue, that if the Fed chairman and the markets are saying that we desperately need some stimulus going into the new year because 2021 is going to be devastating, for a president to unilaterally kill the bill and then take credit for it is like something I've never seen in politics. Usually what would happen is, cynically, presidents would kill a bill, but then figure out a way to subtly blame the other side. And they would do that to try to protect people in their own party, to try to protect the Martha McSallys, the Cory Gardners, the Susan Collins, the Steve Daines. Did not even do that. So in Montana, people in Montana now know that Steve Daines supports a president that has killed any stimulus checks to help the people of Montana through their crises.
The hardest time they've seen.
In years, and spread that to Maine. Same thing happening. Susan Collins, president that she has supported time and time again, has cut off checks that could help the hardworking people of Maine, and do that around the country. It's just absolutely illogical, and suggests that the president is right now not only a detriment to his party, but also a danger, in fact, if in fact he is impacted by the drugs he's on, and the fact that he probably still has COVID, that he's even more unstable and unmoored than he is in the best of circumstances. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.